All right, so today it's a little cold. I'm still wearing shorts though, because that's just how I roll. Today I'm gonna make some vinegar and still wool mixture. My goal is to sort of age a reclaimed pallet wall that I'm gonna create. I got a booth to sell some of the woodworking that I'm making. So what I'm gonna do is build a reclaimed wood wall just to sort of make my woodworking pop. So just to show sort of something I can do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do about 1 steel wool pad for every about 20 ounces, give or take. Some people do it 1 every 12 ounces, so a cup and a half. I think that's really dark. It gets darker the more steel wool you put in it. So what I think I'm going to do is just 1 maybe every 20 ounces, maybe even 1 every 25 ounces, or less actually. I'll probably do 1 every 30 ounces just because I want it to age the wood a little bit, but I don't want it to turn it dark. And most of my reclaimed wood pallets were actually made out of red oak, which when you put steel wool and vinegar mixture that you let sit for a couple days, when you put that on red oak, it turns it almost black. So you actually want to dilute it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix about probably 25 or 30 ounces, pull this apart and stick it in there, probably before I actually pour it. Put about 25 ounces, maybe 30 ounces in here with 1 steel wool pad. Probably put 2 or 3 steel wool pads in here once I mix it. So this will be nothing but steel wool and vinegar, which I'll let age 2 days. I'll let this age 2 days. But at the end of 2 days, before I use this, I'm actually going to add, and I didn't bring it out, I'm actually going to add boiled linseed oil before I use this. And what that's going to do is it's going to make this more of an oil-based product where it'll seal the wood while it's aging it. So what I'm going to do is, and you can do that with teak oil. You can do that with even tung oil refinisher. You can do that with all kinds of different oils. So what that will do when you mix, a little bit of teak oil or BLO, boiled linseed oil, or tung oil inside your mixture, it will help seal the wood when you put this on. So when you paint this on or rub it on or however you're doing it, it'll seal the wood just a little bit, and you'll still probably need to go over it with a poly, like a wipe-on poly or even just a polyurethane brush on. But it helps if all you want to do is age it and protect it just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna shred this apart. Just makes it a little bit easier for the vinegar to eat it up. It really doesn't matter, actually, probably with 30 ounces. Probably wouldn't matter if I shredded this up or not. Okay, I'm gonna add 30 ounces. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shake it up a little bit. But there are gonna be gases released, so you're actually gonna want to leave the lid loose, but on, so it doesn't get a bunch of sawdust and stuff in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just probably barely close this and put it outside for the time being. I may leave it in here, it's pretty cold outside. So this had 1 gallon, 128 ounces. So there's roughly 100 more ounces in here. So I'm going to add a couple steel wool pads, maybe 3. When you pull this apart, you're going to get a bunch of dust everywhere, just so you know. So don't do this on like your kitchen counter. You'll get steel wool dust everywhere. Also, it's not absolutely necessary to pull these apart if you don't want to. I'm just doing it because honestly, I need this in a couple days because I'm going to build my wall in a couple days. We'll just stick with 2. See how that does. You can always add more later. All right, we'll let that sit for a couple days and then go from there. All right, so this is after 1 day. There's a whole lot of nothing going on in here. It looks like the vinegar is slightly tinted, but as far as the steel wool dissolving, hasn't done that yet. But it's been about 24 hours. So this is just the steel wool, and this is gonna be steel wool plus BLO. So I'm gonna put, you know, stuff from in here into here, and then add the BLO to this until I get what I feel like is a good mix. But I'm gonna shake them up and see how that works. Okay, I secured the lids tightly. There we go. So obviously that's all that's dissolved in there. So it's a very darker liquid. So the next thing I have to do is to strain out the metal particles that are left inside the solution. So I'm combining the two together here, and I didn't have a funnel, so I had to improvise with a hole in a cup. And so the point is to get it into one container so I can go ahead and strain it out. You don't need anything fancy here. You just need a paper towel, whatever is necessary just to get it done. But basically you pour it in, you strain out the metal particles, and then you can go from there. The next thing to do is to add the BLO. I went with a 50-50 solution by volume, so I just measured out however many ounces were in there. I just doubled that with BLO. Then you shake it up. It's going to look like a very ugly yellow consistency, but it still works. And then the next thing to do is just to sort of paint it on. I used a paintbrush to apply it. You can also use a sponge or a rag. I just think the paintbrush is the easiest to apply. After you apply it, it's going to take just minutes, and your wood will darken up quite a bit and get that nice patina look to it, like it's been used, even though, as you can see, the wood was fairly new when I started this process. So it just makes it look nicer. It looks reclaimed. It looks like it's been used, which it has. It's just a good way to age the wood quickly. And as you can see in the background, the pieces of wood turned out really good. If you would like to see that video, go ahead and click on the video link above in the top right corner. If you'd like to see more content, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the future. Until next time, good luck on all your woodworking projects.